Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Hyperbolic Orbits podcast. I'm Shumana Mukherjee, and I'm very, very happy to welcome our special guest today. As a space enthusiast, I think all of us Earthlings should be thanking our guest for his contributions to space exploration. Today, we have respected Dr. Ravi Margasahayam with us. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Dr. Ravi
Thank
Margasahayam is a distinguished aerospace engineer with 3 decades of experience at NASA, where he played a pivotal role in launching more than 700 astronauts into space, including the renowned Indian astronaut Kalpana Chawla. Notably, he was the first Indian born person to send humans to space on NASA rockets. Born in Mumbai and raised in various countries due to his father's career, he earned a mechanical engineering degree in India and a master's in aerospace engineering from the Illinois Institute of Technology. Joining NASA in 1989, he specialized in vibroacoustics and contributed to historic missions, including the launch of the Hubble Space Telescope, earning the Silver Snoopy Award for his exceptional work. He had helped build the International Space Station and supplied 400 payloads to the giant structure in space. After retiring as co chair of the Ground Review Safety Panel in 2016, he became a solar system ambassador for the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, focusing on inspiring young people in aerospace careers by establishing the Mumbai chapter of the National Space Society. Dr. Ravi's journey exemplifies his commitment to innovation in space exploration, and his legacy extends to enabling humans to live and work in space. Thanks a lot for joining us today, sir.
It's a great opportunity, really, Suman. I wanted to do this for a long time. Not because of you, but more because of your audience. And the audience. When I say audience, I don't mean young or old or anything. I wanted to inspire. My goal here is sometimes we end up saying I did this or whatever. So when you see me say I, no one person can launch a rocket, as you know. So please replace that with we, or the audience. Let's replace that with we. I can guarantee you can't launch a rocket. Neither did anybody in the world. So I don't want to impress upon you on what I did. Yes, we did a lot of things, but it was a team effort. So remember how we spell team, TEAM. Is there an I there? No I in the team, right? So that means, when I say I, it's the team really doing it. And more importantly, I'm trying to inspire the next generation to do better than us. Like I tell my students or mentees, I said, I don't want you to be a beautiful peacock on the ground, or parrot or a pigeon. I want you to be an eagle, because the first words from Neil Armstrong on the moon were, the eagle has landed. Even before he said Houston, whatever, and first man on moon, basically, and stuff like that. As one small step. So it's important that we talk about space and education and commitment to environment and earth, all that combined together. I like to talk about all these things in a nutshell, because it's important that we connect all this. So people think, why do we go to space? They say, I said, you're already in space. Earth is in space. I don't know where it is. We're a pale blue dot. Yes, Carl Sagan said that. So we are already in space. So we're not going anywhere. We are just checking our backyard, our front yard. My goal is to help you as a host, to inspire the next generation. Okay, your job is the same as mine. I'm just a tool here. That's about it. Okay.
That's really kind of you. Yes, I will try to ask the questions so that it just does not just the questions that I've been waiting to ask you for so long, but also the ones that would benefit everyone. And
yes.
I would like to start with the mission that I have been really fascinated about. It launched before I was born, and I put the background intentionally. So I want to talk about the Hubble Space Telescope.
Okay.
And the reason is very recently, I love the NASA's podcast, Houston, we have a podcast, and they have some 350 episodes where they talk about the technical sides as well as leadership and team building. And while I was listening to a very recent episode, I was thinking of asking you this, that Hubble Space Telescope was kind of a milestone mission for NASA in general, for the space community in many different ways. First, it opened up the universe, quite literally, for us. And the second is that it kind of very well demonstrated the complexities that go on during design of a space mission at its operations. So, for you as a member of the team, how would you describe the teamwork that led to the success of the launch and repair mission of the Hubble Space Telescope?
Great question. I'm so glad you didn't ask me what Hubble is doing in space. So I love Earth, I hug Earth, and I kiss Earth, and I want to be on Earth, and I don't want to go to space. No, I'm just teasing you. No, because you know, I'm not an astronaut, nor I have gone to space, and I just want to let people know. So I have a lot of knowledge of space, but I would let you people like you talk about space. When I say space, I mean really low Earth orbit, right? So because Hubble is there. As far as the ground goes, I just want to impress upon you is that each of the space shuttle rocket which we launched to space cost us. Actually, I have a model here. If I can just quickly run over and get one. This is Atlantis rocket. So for all the people here, I want to show you that this is the rocket here. These are the two solid rocket boosters, and this is the orange tank, or the external tank we call it. And that's where the liquid oxygen, liquid hydrogen is. This is the solid fuel. And the payload compartment comes out, and then you put the Hubble inside there. And then we send it to the space. Well, it's very simple when I say that, but launching a rocket is not like I tell them flipping burgers or flipping pizza. It's one of the most dangerous jobs in the world, and astronauts claim that they have the most dangerous job in the world. And yes, why? Because they do the EVA or extravehicular activities. And I'll never compare myself to an astronaut. They are way, way, way above me, okay? Millions of miles away above me, because we are just ordinary people, okay? They are extraordinary, okay? And so I don't want to say anything negative against the astronauts, because they are doing the real work. But we do what they call as the scut work. Yes, we love that, and that's where the ground system, they say, astronauts, they call them right stuff, right? So now, but for the right stuff, let's say Sumana wants to become the right stuff as an astronaut, but she needs right staff on the ground, like me. Sumana cannot just take a car and start driving, or a train and go to some other place. She needs the right staff on the ground. So this is very important that we got to launch. As a kid growing up in India, I was just watching the sun and the moon, and suddenly I see, I am launching in my first year. I'm launching all these probes to the solar system. So Hubble was the first year, and I mean, it was such a jubilant experience for me that I'm launching something, windows to the universe. And but it's a very hard work. It's a very tedious work, because not only you have to take this Hubble, it's a very delicate instrument, and each launch of this rocket costs $500 million, 500 million per launch. 1 day delay is 1 million. So we have to take the Hubble and put it in the payload very carefully and move this whole stack of 9 million kilos to the launch pad. Okay, so not only this rocket is here, but you have the mobile launcher and a crawler, which goes almost 3 miles. And I would say that is the most dangerous part of the mission, because in the end, we have a 5-degree slope. So this whole rocket can tilt and fall off. And that's the end of the mission, that. So, so basically, our team, I think we like one of my friends used to say that we were very focused in what we were doing, right? And we had the courage to take the responsibility, okay? for these astronauts, because astronauts are our family. We don't want anything to happen. 3 million parts, everything has to work together. Can you imagine all 3 million parts, all the systems, hundreds of thousands of systems, everything has to work picture perfect in a millionth of a trillionth of a second. If it doesn't happen, that's it, we are done. So it's very important that we bring in all the expertise of SEI, which systems engineering and integration. So why NASA is the best in the world? I'm not saying other agencies are not good, but my team was the best in the world because we had the best systems engineering and integration. Now, there is another part of it in Houston and other places to integrate the Hubble. But what we are doing is integrating all these parts. These parts don't go together. They come from different places. So we have to put this together, put this together, put this together. Like you make a hamburger, something like that. So it's very important to understand that, can you this rocket alone costs like 2 billion. Can you imagine lifting it and putting it in place? You drop it, you're done. And you make a tiny mistake in some connection. And that's what happened to Kalpana Chawla's rocket, Columbia, that a foam got dislodged from vibroacoustics. So my job was studying the sound and vibration. But there again, our team was involved in having that courage and taking the responsibility, also having the confidence in not only myself, but my team, and trust in the team. It's very important to have the right team members and they trust each other. And these are diverse people, they work in different areas, I can't do everything. Definitely no one person. We had about at least 2,000 people working on the launch pad. I was the only Indian working on the moon pad where NASA went to moon, complex 39A and B. I was the first Indian and the last Indian, I think. I don't think they'll let anybody work on there. I mean, I say Indian, I'm an Indian American, but Indian born, I say, for all practical purposes. So knowledge is very important. Can you imagine 89, I joined and I'm launching Ulysses to the Sun, Galileo to Jupiter, Cassini to Saturn. We are getting it ready. And then Magellan to Venus and then Hubble. Can you imagine 4 big things launching, touching all parts of the universe and sending Hubble? Okay. So a constant hard work towards the mission, looking at every single aspect, like when you're a systems engineer or a safety engineer, safety systems, you're watching every single aspect of integrating the rocket, putting it on the a crawler transporter, moving it to the pad and getting it ready for 30 days before the launch pad. Then you have hailstorm, you have a thunderstorm, lightning, rain, all kinds of elements. Then you have toxic fuels you have to load, like monomethyl hydrazine, nitrogen tetroxide. So the sacrifice is tremendous. In first launch of a space shuttle in STS-1, 3 people were under the engine and there was an oxygen deficient environment. So what happens when you don't have oxygen? You die. Within 3 minutes, they were dead. Even before we left off from the launch pad. Okay. And many times the rocket plume would be coming at Mach 4, Mach 3, Mach 1 Mach is about 700 miles per hour, So 2,100 to 2,800 miles per hour. And then this plume will carry 190 decibels of sound. Okay. If you sit there right underneath it, you'll be dead in 1 trillionth of a second. So it's very important to understand the importance of all these parts. And if the rocket doesn't take off properly, there are 8 bolts, 4 on this side, 4 on this side. So that's the only thing which is holding the whole stack. If they don't burst at the same time at T0, okay, this rocket is going to come flopping down. So immense pressure, and the mission was crucial to us. But what was important was our attitude towards saying we are the right staff to get this launch reliably to space, and we are the right staff to bring the rocket back safely to Earth. Okay, because these are our humans. Okay, these are our family. Astronauts were my family. More than a family, really. We spent our time on the. So I think I don't want to take too much time in here, but we can always come back to this question. As I said, we went to we launched Hubble in 1990. We repaired it 5 times. I was fully involved with all these launches. From 1989 to 2011, I was involved in 100 launches of the space shuttle, 700 people to space, many probes. I don't believe anybody will get a chance like that. I'm not arrogant, but I'm telling you the honestly that if Sumana came to NASA, she would not get this chance. Why? Because I think we go through this timeline of our life that you have to be in the right place at the right time, and you get that opportunity. And once that opportunity goes, the next time it comes, maybe I don't know when, it may never come, because we'll never launch at $500 million at cost. This rocket costs 2 billion, 3 billion, and maintenance and other things like that. We'll never launch 100 rockets anymore, or not launch Hubble. We don't need it. We have other 4 great observatories like Chandra, Spitzer X-ray, Spitzer, Compton Gamma Ray, and then Hubble. And now we have JWST. So we have enough satellites up in orbit. And we repaired it 5 times. Last time in 2009, I launched a Hubble repair mission, and I fought against NASA. And there's a scar on my heart. It's a 8-inch scar, open heart surgery. Why? Because I went against NASA to stop the launch, and they wanted to fire me for that. And we wrote a book. It's called Infinite Worlds. And if somebody wants to buy from Amazon, they can buy. So this is a book I wrote, the last chapter in the book, and it's a book by astronauts. It's called The Infinite Worlds by Michael Soluri. So you don't buy that, I'll give you as a gift someday. Okay, great.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing such an incredible story. And I think everyone who ends up or wants to get involved in a space career is kind of also fascinated by the thrill of working on difficult things. Like you explained how dangerous and difficult it was. About one experience you had that's kind of life-changing, I would say. And it was the time you met Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam.
Right.
So could you tell us a little bit about that day and what happened, what he told you?
Yeah. So, again, I sometimes tell people that my journey is a serendipitous journey. That means you're looking for something very small, like a candy, and then you get the whole candy factory given to you by somebody. So, does it happen in real life? Yes, it does. And serendipity is a skill. You can train yourself. I didn't create it. I don't even know the spelling of it when I found out about it. So, what it is basically I got to come. Dr. Kalam came to America in 1962. By the by, many people don't know, and he was going around, and he came to NASA Kennedy Space Center, and we gave him some rockets, sounding rockets. NASA also sent many people to Sriharikota to put telemetry and stuff like that. So this was all given to free to NASA. I mean, free to ISRO. And these are 5 different people from ISRO came, top people. So I just want to give you the link between NASA and ISRO goes back to 1962. Okay. So now coming to Dr. Kalam, I revered him. My dad worked for Tata Atomic Energy in Mumbai, and he worked with Baba, Dr. Homi Baba, and he was his right hand man to do some civil engineering work. He was not a aerospace engineer. But bringing that whole picture together, I heard so much about Dr. Kalam, but I never got to meet. So I was wondering whether I would ever meet. And we got a chance one time after 2000. He got to visit, not only but other parts of America, and NASA and other things. And I was his tour guide because I also served NASA as a VIP tour guide. I'm one of their best tour guides. So anyway, then what happened was, when we met, it was such a great occasion because my dad was next to me and he was next to me. And after the tour was over, he said, Dr. Ravi, you did a great job of touring, uh, 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 giving me a tour of the center, Kennedy Space Center, because I knew exactly what to talk to people because I had done kings and queens and ambassadors. So I knew exactly what they were interested in. And Dr. Kalam being a missile man, rocket man, and all that. So he says, I'm jealous of your son, and envious of your son. And my dad almost had a heart attack. He said, what, why is this great man who we just touched his feet, both of us, is telling me that my son is, he's envious of my son who's nobody really. And at that time, Dr. Kalam said, yeah, I've been a former president of India. I've been missile man, rocket man, I've done everything in my life. But that one thing God never let me have it is launching humans to space, and I could do that. And I don't know why he stopped me from launching humans to space, but your son got the first opportunity because he's the first Indian to launch, humans to space from NASA. And Kalpana Chawla he launched. So he's the real astronaut maker of NASA. So he like out of the blue he said that, and it really it's not documented. We don't have anybody right now. It's just between me, my dad, and him, and both are gone now. And we have a picture to prove that. But I can I just have to you have to accept my my words. Somebody like Dr. Kalam, who is one of the most revered person on earth, many things are attributed to him. But what really caught me was his hard work, perseverance, dedication, and making you better than him. That was his trait. Although I know for sure he's like million times better than me or billion times, but he elevated me to that area where he would sit, his seat in the heavens, that is amazing. If I'm better than you, I would say, hey, I'm better than you, right? Now, talking about, inspiration and other things, there is many times, we talk about Dr. Kalam in the context of uh, context of telling stories, telling enlightening people, telling how humble he was, how hard work he put in, and he was an educator. He was, he had many failures. So that is all combined together. It was a very enlightening experience. It's like for me, I was seeing God, talking to me or something like that. Yes, Dr. Kalam is not God, but I touched his feet, as if he was my God. Yes, I'm just looking back at the picture, how we go through these moments in time, right? Defining moments, turning points, I call it, I'm crying. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit crying.
That's really,
I think
yeah.
you put me into a very good spot where it's a good tear. It's not a bad tear. I'm not upset or anything.
There's a reason everybody who has ever met Dr. Kalam has such vivid memories of meeting him, speaking to him, getting inspired by him because of his humility, and also like the way he talked about you in front of your father. That must have been a huge validation for you too in front of your parents. So I
Yeah, I
remember,
mean,
yeah.
yeah. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that? Uh, you know, my. I just want to give you a context of that. Perspective. So between 0 and 22 years in India, I was a total loser. I was a failure. I was a shy, introvert kid, right? So I tell people, I said, Sumana looks at the mirror, and if she is 8 years old, it will reflect the same thing. But when she is 22 or 28, it will reflect exactly what the mirror is seeing. But in life's mirror, it doesn't do that. It all depends on what energy you put in, because your regular mirror is a static mirror. Life's mirror is a dynamic mirror. So let's say after 22, I was 22 when I came to America, and I came on a tourist visa, no books, no winter clothes, no admission to college, just TOEFL, and no money, not much money. And on 6 weeks visa, tourist visa. And I'm still here after 50 years. So and I became most, I went to the top of NASA, really, literally. Pamela Melroy, one of my mentors, who is the number 2 person in NASA and friend of Kalpana Chawla, she always says, Ravi, you're the greatest citizen of America and the world. So this is what drives me. That it's the day I got my SSLC results, I had 50% out of 100, and my dad and me walked like almost 45 minutes, more than a few miles, to train station from one of the cities in Mumbai to go back home. And that 2 hours, he never spoke to me. After that, he went away. Where was he? 68. He was ready to go to Middle East. He never spoke to me for many years. And now, I changed the mirror, life's mirror. I put in my effort, put in my energy, I said, I'm going to change. I'm not going to look the same. In next 22 years, from like 1975, I came to America. The first 22 years, I was born in 53. And you add 22 years, 97, I launched Kalpana Chawla. But before that, I had launched Hubble and other things. So my dad standing next to Dr. Kalam after 2000, he was literally in tears, he didn't show it to us, but I'm sure his heart melted.
I'm sure it must have. It's such a for Dr. Kalam to be saying such things about your son. Your son must have done something right. So,
and
I
in front
remember,
of him, in front of him.
yeah. What a great moment that must have been. I'm glad you framed it. There's a picture of it, and I remember Dr. Kalam was a big advocate of education. Even till his last years, he openly encouraged students everywhere to educate themselves, since he came from very humble backgrounds.
My parents were very adamant about getting my education. So although I moved from Burma, Afghanistan, Middle East, Abu Dhabi, I used to live there in 67. Burma, I went as a kid, a 1-month-old baby. Kabul when I was 10 years old. I think that there is a point in time. There's a calling. It's a trigger in your brain. And I came from Mumbai. Kabul in the 1964 time frame, and I saw the first Indian color movie, Sangam. And without going in too much detail, I fell in love with Vaijanti Mala. Why? Because I was more falling in love with Raj Kapoor's job, actually, because I could become a pilot. And because Raj Kapoor was a pilot, he could marry a beautiful girl and go around the world. So at that time, my whole world was Indian subcontinent, Burma, Afghanistan, and India. I didn't know where America was. I didn't know where Europe. We knew on maps, but there were no computers those days, no TV, nothing like that. So anyway, that made me think, like, I want to become a pilot. And when I went to my mom, she said, you fly, you die. My dad said, you want to take flying lessons? I'm making $100 a month here. How am I going to take care of your whole family, my whole family, and then pay for your flight education? But incidentally, a funny thing, Kalpana Chawla also growing up, she was very much interested in flight, and then Dr. Kalam also very much interested. So I think it's this like minds, like going back to Leonardo da Vinci, we call it 500 years ago. He said, if flying is not for me, let it be for others, and I'll build a plane, I'll build a helicopter so Sumana can fly. Who cares? I don't care, because I want to help her out, help the humanity out. And now we talk about Wernher von Braun, who's the father of Apollo rocket. And he said, if spaceflight is not for me, let it be for others, And, in the same context, much later, I was reflecting on my journey, and I said the same thing. I said, look, I'll never become an astronaut. Impossible. I was not good enough for passing high school. I sort of failed in Mumbai, getting very low grades to get an engineering school. But then I went to Bangalore in 1970 and got that engineering school. So in 73, I got a chance to go to Darjeeling on a tour, and I met Tenzing Norgay. And by fluke, we are just going inside a shop, and I asked for some posters. postcards, and it was not there. So the guy owner said, "That's Tenzing." So we grabbed him, brought him out, took some pictures, and at that time he said very, very profound thing. And I just got the same text from somebody the other day. It says, "Stop comparing your path to someone else's." Okay. And second thing is like you're comparing your chapter 1 with somebody else's chapter 30 or something like that. You don't do that. I always wondered why God gave me 5 different fingers. Why didn't he give me the same length? I mean, I'm sure he was a great designer. Okay. I mean, would I take all 5 fingers the same? No, I don't think so, because there's a reason for it, Okay. Whatever God made, it's a perfect design. So now, I don't know what God's degree was, but he had education, I can guarantee you that, to make a human body. So, what I tell people is that, you can, this is the Indian philosophy. They can steal your money, house, car, everything, but they'll never steal your education. So never go in your life with a plan A. NASA, when the shuttle took off, we had 5, 6 contingency plans. So one was called, like Challenger happened, right, at 73 seconds. If it didn't happen there, we could have brought the shuttle back to Kennedy Space Center to land there. It is called RTLS, Return to Launch Site. Then once you are going around Atlantic Ocean, you land in Europe. And we had many landing sites there. It's called alternative TAL sites, transatlantic abort landing sites. So we have plan A, plan B, plan C. And then people ask me, Dr. Ravi, what happens if you run out of alphabet, 26 letters? So he said, why don't you use Tamil or Kannada or Bengali, who knows, or Swahili, come up with more plans. And people say, oh, but if I have plan A, then I don't focus on plan A that much, because then plan B is there. So I don't worry about it. No, that's not true. You will always focus on plan A. It's not a joke to control 190 decibels of sound, okay? And sound is not like a linear curve, right? It's exponential. Every time you double you go up by 6 dB, you double the pressures, okay? And then that's a very, very dangerous bomb sitting on the launch pad, And then you have 3,000 degrees temperature, and we still put water, and we had a big crack on a 4-inch plate or steel plate. We had a 40-foot crack on the first launch of STS-1 in 1981, April 12th, 1981. Because of this acoustics, that's why I got a job there. So, and the sound creates a vibration, and that's called resonance. Too much vibration is resonance. So if I tell you something and answer, say, and Sumana likes it, that means we resonate at the same frequency, because our mindset is the same, and you agree. If I say, Sumana, 2 + 2 is 5, I'm NASA guy, and I'll beat you up if you don't agree. Someone says, I don't care. You can beat me up every day, 2 + 2 is always 4, right? That's not resonant. So what Tenzing told me was, he said, Ravi, don't climb Mount Everest. I said, why? I want to climb Mount Everest. He said, first of all, you may never climb it. Second of all, I'm the first. I climbed it first. Funny story, many people in India also don't know. Edmund Hillary had a camera. And Tenzing those days was poor. He didn't have a camera, and he didn't know how to take pictures. So what Hillary told Tenzing is, you climb Mount Everest on top, on the peak, and I'll take a picture. So who climbed first? Tenzing. And Hillary climbed next, but Tenzing didn't know how to take a picture. So there's no picture of Hillary on top. The first time I'm talking about, maybe other times, So that tells you that you don't take the same path, to success. And there is no one path to success. I mean, if you had asked me, a small boy sitting in Mumbai, looking at a Sangam movie and saying, oh, this kid is not going anywhere with a 35% grades, in college and 50% in SSLC. He can't even get admission in Mumbai. How is he going to become a NASA engineer, right? So the life's mirror completely can change it. It's a dynamic thing. What happened was, when 22, I came to America and I put in all the effort. I said, I'm not going to give up on my dreams. Yes, I can't fly a plane because I don't have money. So when I came to America, I didn't have money. I had $3,000 for education, $200 for pocket money. You can buy a plane or fly a plane with that. Now it's maybe 50 years later, I can buy 10 planes. I can buy 10 pilots and say, okay, let's go. I'll go somewhere. I can do that. I don't need it. Why? Because that dream was not there. Now my dream is much bigger, giving back to the community and the world. Like Pamela Melroy always says, paying it forward. That means helping Sumana become the best in the world, not Ravi, Dr. Ravi. My journey is almost over. And there's a very good saying I want you to remember, Sumana. Even everybody forgets, I want you to remember. So you become successful by learning learning the lessons of failure, not only from your own failures, but also Dr. Ravi's failures. That means other people's failures. So you learn lessons from your failures and others' failures. Why? Because if you learn from your own failures, you'll be starting the marathon at 0 line and you run the marathon, just like me. But then if you learn from others, my mistakes, and you become smart, then you get a head start in design.
That I'm glad you talked about plan B. A lot of people, discourage having plan B, saying that if you focus on plan B, you will always think about plan B. But it's wrong. I mean, 2 years ago when I was here, I started my first job in a rocket company in India, and it did not work out. And because I used to learn music, I had a part-time job with the music academy. And my boss was so nice. The day I gave up that job, he turned my part-time into a full-time job, and I took it. And a lot of people, even now, when I try to apply to space companies, they discourage me, saying that you should never mention about working in a music academy, what kind of a space person goes. And they kind of, to say, in a very derogatory way, condescending way, they want to say that it's wrong to have done that job. But at that moment, instead of staying unemployed, it was better for me. It was a beautiful job. I learned how to do these online things. For me to even dream about posting on LinkedIn, social media 2 years ago was unimaginable. I learned so many things, and it's not like I gave up on space.
No.
But
I'm not saying give up on space.
yes,
You still have that passion, but what I'm trying to say is have a plan B in the meanwhile. And
exactly. Yes,
even very many rich people, even Abraham Lincoln, who was the president of America, he failed many times. Michael Jordan failed many. What's her name? J.K. Rowling failed many times. Thomas Edison failed many times. Even Einstein failed many times, and what's his name? Leonardo da Vinci failed many times. Okay, so who are we to talk about? So basically, I think what I want to impress upon the people is that you can, this is my mantra. Sort of like think, believe in yourself, dream, and dare. You don't have to write it down, but those are the 4 mantras. Then I have added 4 more for engineers. So find root cause of failure. So you fail in your life, find the root cause, not proximity cause, which is more engineering, but root cause is the human error. Second, be a systems engineer, understand the big picture, be a eagle. Don't go in a forest with a peacock, then you're only seeing 4 trees, and then be a multidisciplinarian. Okay. Multidisciplinarian means in my career I didn't never worked in India, but in my career in America, I worked in railroads as an aerospace engineer, mining, underground mining, helicopters, commercial airplanes, military airplanes, and NASA in 10 years. Okay. So can you imagine? I was telling my boss, Harry, he said, Harry, this is crazy. I want to be a rocket scientist. I want to be a pilot. I want to fly planes, design planes. He said, Ravi, you have to crawl before you walk, before you run, before you fly, he said. And babies, what do? They fly? No, they have to crawl. I don't know. Every baby in the world I've seen has to crawl first. So, what it implies is that we have to follow a certain protocol. So, think, believe in yourself, dream, and dare. Those are 4. Then find root cause of failures, and not only your failures, add to you other failures, and then be a systems engineer, understand the big picture, like a eagle's eye view. Be a multidisciplinarian like me, railroad, mining, and all. And then finally, storytelling. We tell a lot of stories in NASA. And people just started putting on LinkedIn. I'm like, Okay, we used to tell that in 1958 when I was born. But guess what? Every single big structure on the launch pad where man went to moon moves on the railroad tracks. Now, who became the expert? Me. Nobody knew much about railroad engineering because I'd done research. Okay, I had to put sensors for vibroacoustics to measure sound. What do you need? You need sensors. You cannot be holding a microphone when the shuttle is going on. You'll be in California in 1 hour. So I had to put sensors. And where did the sensor knowledge came from? Mining, underground mining. I went inside. So look how it plays out later on. Okay.
You never know what skill will come to help at what point.
So
I've always
Sumana, you and me are going into going along our journey of our life. We have an empty suitcase, and we pick up a lot of. We get different tools. We keep on adding tools to our toolbox. You never know when you need it. So it's very important that you collect all these tools, and it will be useful to you someday. And so don't, and your music will also come into picture. See, if I learn music, okay, guess what? I would be analyzing the sound generated by the rocket, which is the highest amount of sound and frequencies from 0 hertz all the way to 1,000 hertz. Some people used to say 10,000, but I don't think so. And below 20 hertz, you don't hear. Human ear cannot hear. And those are the most dangerous one, because look at the tower. Look at my rocket; it's very tall. So 1 hertz, you divide by the wavelength, and the wavelength of sound is very big. So basically, what I'm trying to impress upon you is that, you are completely engulfed by the sound wave. And these things, if I knew what it was, right, what music was, I could be doing a better job. So now you know what I'm trying to allude, right? Okay.
I will always remember this.
Good.
And as we are on the topic of education and failures,
yes,
a year ago, there was a very nice movie in Bollywood. It was called 12th Fail. And
I seen that. I love that movie.
Thank you. Yes, I loved it too. And it was about the struggle of a student who faced so much hardship to become an IPS officer. And what I loved is that the tagline of the movie was #restart. And it was about the guy never giving up in the face of challenges. So
Correct.
why I'm mentioning that movie is that because it's kind of unfortunate when we see and hear about students taking to extreme measures when they cannot cope up with the madness of this current rat race that is the education system.
Right.
So having faced so many hardships along your journey yourself, how would you say that students should develop grit and resilience?
Very, very good question. I just had a podcast with one of my very good friends in Mumbai. He was a former employee of American Consul General in Mumbai. And we are both involved in US-India Importers Council. Ravi Nair, he's on LinkedIn. Great guy. I'll make sure you get to talk to him. And we talked about the same thing. The whole team, we started thinking about it and said, look, why are these people jumping off a cliff? I couldn't even get into IIT. Forget IIT. Ordinary, no, I wouldn't say ordinary school. Mumbai has other good schools too. I don't want to compare the schools here. But I couldn't get in a good school in Mumbai, and I had to go to Bangalore. And Bangalore schools, you can say they were considered at that time in 1970 as not so good, because IITs were always there, right? So there was IIT Madras. I couldn't get in there. Well, I want to tell you something interesting. I came to Chicago and went to IIT Chicago, not to IIT India. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say about it is because many times, these people like this. Today I saw an article on LinkedIn that some girl committed suicide in IIT in one of the, I forget, Indore or somewhere, and one guy jumped from 7th floor. And suicides are rampant in India and in the world, and they give up very easily. And if you listen to my story, you should, I'll be jumping off the highest cliff, in the world. Tenzing said Mount Everest. Now I'll jump off Olympus Mons, on Mars. So yes, I think resilience, being resilient is important. But I think Sumana, one thing I want you to remember all your life. Okay. The last three things we talked about, four things, and then four other things about multidisciplinary. The last three things are: have no fear. Fear has two meanings: forget everything and run up the hill, or face everything and rise. I want you to rise with any fear. There's no such thing as fear. It's your mind telling you that there's some tiger around there, or Bisal Baat ka jaisa, there's somebody there, some ghost there. There's no ghosts, there's no aliens. I don't know. Anyway, so second thing is risk taking. So I don't want you to jump off the building to take risks. If you have to jump off, take a bungee cord or something like that. Take a parachute. If you want to jump off a plane, be my guest. I want you to do that. Okay, I'm coaching. I'm not coaching, but I'm pushing this girl in Seattle. She's from Mumbai, and she wants to become the next Kalpana Chawla. So I won't say I'm helping her, but I'm trying to guide her a little bit here and there. Yeah. So fear, take risks. By taking risks, you may fail, you may lose, but if you don't take risk, you'll be always a loser. So take a measured risk or a calculated risk. I'm not saying take total risk and then you're gone. No. So this is what happening with all these people. They're taking life. And then last one is self-esteem. And self-esteem is one of the most fundamental thing. If you forget everything what I say today, or your people listening or audience, I just want them to say, if you forget everything, just have one thing in your brain. So self-esteem completely changes your perspective on life, saying that anything is possible. There's no such thing as impossible. I am possible. Now, there's another thing I want to bring in because we talked about failure. So there's a coin here. हम लोग toss करते हैं ना, for cricket. So the one side is heads, other side is tails, right? So depends on how you flip. You win or you lose, right? Depending upon who goes first. So if I'm the captain, I said head and tails comes, you win, So you get to go first. But down there's a third side. Can the coins drop and can it stand on its side? Yes, it can, right? The probability is very low, but it can. That side, I call it the successful failure. Forget about failure. There's no such thing as failure in life. Failure was created by Oxford Dictionary. So just tear up the page, throw it away, burn the page. There's no such thing as failure in life. You think Edison thought it was a failure, otherwise we would never get a bulb. Even his buddy ran away, his assistant ran away. He said, Edison, you're crazy. You're going to kill me and you both. So there's no such thing as failure. It's a try, number of tries. Okay. So, cricket people lose. We play card game, we lose. We miss a train. Is that failure? No, it's not. In a big scheme of things, in the scheme of the universe, it's not a failure. So very important to know that, you are crossing that bridge. Okay. So when you cross the bridge, you say, I'm not a failure. This number of tries I'm trying. Like, let's say you want to throw a ball, okay, in a basket. So you try 1 time, 2 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times, million times. Eventually it will go one day, okay, because somebody will come and try to help you out or whatever. But still it's your effort. Now, is that a problem? No, I don't think so. Can I call you a failure? No. At least you got off your behind and went to put the ball in the court, right? In the basket. So that's what Tenzing told me. He said, I failed 8 times climbing Mount Everest, 7 times. 8 times I climbed. I climbed from all different places, from China, from Tibet, many places I climbed. And I came sometimes so close, almost less than a quarter mile, and I had to come back. And the 8th time was a charm. So is that a failure? No, he didn't give up. Why he didn't give up? Because that was his passion. And Auntie, my wife, says, we've been married 43 years, and she says, if I cut Ravi here, no blood comes out, only NASA comes out. That's passion. So remember that. Okay. So if I cut Vasumana here, only space and exploration and other things come out. Okay. Uh, it's not true, and I know, but it's trying to put it in a bigger context. So it's very important for us to not to think, but think it as a successful failure, and it has precedences, real precedences. And we talked about Hubble. That's a great precedence, because what happened to Hubble? Here I launched this rocket, $500 million, and it took me another 500 million to put the Hubble, make the Hubble, and put it here and shoot it up, and it didn't work. Let's say there's a small piece of hardware like your shower head or something like that, or some faucet in your house, on the earth. It fails. So what do? Tum kya karoge? So you'll go to the plumber and call him and ask him to buy the part, come and fix it. So how do you do that in space? We have 300 miles up, going around the world at Mach 25, 17,500 miles per hour. Okay. And what do we do with that part? We cannot be carrying it. It's a dead weight. I have to throw the thing. Can you imagine? The whole launch is wasted then. Okay. Then I have to redo the whole thing. But I can still send a plumber to fix that, right? So think like that. And, it's very important to understand that, in some cases, you will fail. But we had the tenacity, right? NASA sent astronauts. And I told you, EVA, extravehicular activity, or spacewalk, as we call it, is one of the most dangerous things in the world. Okay, that's why astronauts are great. They're very close to God, in my opinion. I have no problem. In fact, if I meet an astronaut like Pamela Milroy, I'll touch her feet, because they're doing something profound. Well, obviously, I don't know where God is and what he's doing. I don't know. He's having fun up there. But these astronauts are working in space and trying to look at Earth, right? We go around the world every 90 minutes, right? 16 times a day. You see what? One sunset and sunrise a day. And you say, oh, wo to chand mera hai. Ek raat, I mean, what do they say? एक रात में दो चांद खिले. अरे दो किधर है? एक ही है उधर. हम लोग 16 देखते हैं. When I told you about the mirror, this mirror was December 4th, 1975. And I was born in 1953, so 22 years. The next 22 years, I did so many things, including launching Kalpana Chawla. So how is that possible? If I had given up, right? I didn't dare to dare mighty things. I had to change the mindset and the heart set. I don't talk about mindset. My mind is a monkey, you know that. Your mind and my mind, both are same. Okay. But my mind is more monkeyer than yours, I think. So I say heart set, So it's like, when you like something, oh, that's beautiful, like when I like Vajantimala, oh, that's beautiful, I want to marry her, So I married a beautiful girl. I went around the world, never became a pilot. So what? I never became an astronaut either, but I sent 700 astronauts to space. So is it anything bad or anything wrong or anything demeaning? Or Hubble was one thing, because we sent astronauts in 1993, I think. And then repaired it 5 times, actually. So totally. And so there's another precedent, which is greatest one is Apollo 13. So I want to talk about it. When 200,000 miles away, these men were stranded, and their plan A, or only plan, was to go to land on the moon, just like Apollo 11. But then the oxygen tank exploded. They were out of food, water, electricity, power, computers, everything, and they had to come back to Earth. But it was not planned. We never thought that was the process to come back to the Earth from there, 200,000 miles. So, okay, so these 3 men were beyond the physical reach of humankind, because they were 200,000 miles up. So if Sumana falls in the pool, I can grab a hand and pull her out. But now if you're stuck 50 miles from the moon, how am I going to I don't think Bollywood also cannot do it. Neither does Hollywood. And said, let's work day and night until we get them back. We had only 3 days. We got them back. So that's the successful failure we talk about. Why failure? Because we didn't land on the moon. That was primary mission. That was our mission. Then we resorted to plan B. Plan B was never there. And that's where plan B starts in life. So NASA always wants to have many, many contingency plans. And plan B was to bring them back, but there's no software. So we had to write the software. We have to do everything. And even then, after all that, we could have still problem and we would be late with computers or heat or temperature of food or freezing times there. And we could just, they would be dead. So we had to rush 3 nights. Then as they came to Earth, there was a point in time they thought that it will miss the Earth. Yeah, there's an article about it. Read that. Can you imagine with all the effort, okay, now you miss the Earth. So that's another precedence. The third precedence I would say is Vasa, the ship, in Sweden. So this king in the medieval times, 1400, he built the biggest ship, and the king was not educated. He didn't go to school. He didn't know center of gravity and other things. So he said, I'm going to build the heaviest, ship. Okay. So I'll build a deck one. Deck one mein both guns lagayenge, heavy guns. Then deck 2 karenge, more guns. Deck 3 karenge, aisa. He kept on adding more and more and more weight. So the CG kept on changing. So just like the house which fell down in Bangalore yesterday. Okay. So, but the ship started going because he had the best guns. He could win the war. But the ship went like 100 yards. Okay. It sunk in the channel in Stockholm. Guess what? It was there 400 years. Then the Swedish people said, hey, let's bring the ship back. It was a beautiful ship. They brought it up. They refurbished it. Now it's sitting in a beautiful museum. It's called not NASA, but Vasa, VASA, Vasa. And this ship is making more money now, more famous than the king had it at that time. So can you imagine that you jump off a cliff right now because nothing happened now, but the ship waited for 400 years to come to glory. The Swedish people waited 400 years. So what is the hurry? Don't you have patience? I mean, the ship had patience. Then how about our friend Shackleton, who went to Antarctica on the ship, a ship called Endurance, and he got stuck because of the flows and other things, and the ship got damaged, and now he had to bring 44 of his men or whatever to Elephant Island and keep them there, and then he had to come from there to a whaling station, 800 miles on a small boat to bring a big boat to rescue them. He could have said, forget about them, I'm going home, Like NASA also, all the engineers would say, well, I can't do anything. Let me go and, enjoy a party. Today is a Friday, I'm going to have a party. No, they didn't do that. They said, these are our men. We're not going to let them die. And that's what Kalpana Chawla was to us. I cried. And
She's the very reason that I got interested in space. I watched Columbia while having dinner one night, and that was the night that decided I'm going to study space. But I'm not going to ask you about the launch or how it was to work with her. We've heard wonderful stories. What I want to ask you is that she came from my country too. She was Indian origin. She's from Karnal, where my close friend is getting married
I'm
right
also from your country.
Yes. Yes.
What are you saying? I'm a Pardesi? Alien?
No, you're not Pardesi at all. What I'm trying to say is that Kalpana Chawla grew up here. She shattered the glass ceiling for us, and that too so many years ago. She went to US, did such wonders. She went to the ISS twice, and she's not only inspired, I would say, Indians, but also so many people around the globe. What I want to ask is that here in India, we managed to do so much with our people, we orbited Mars, but somehow still we are not able to figure out a way to respect women in workplaces. I know it's a very sensitive question, but still, You also talked about when astronauts go to space, they're touching the heavens, they're so close to God. So there's this overview effect that they experience. So how do you think going to space or let's say human exploration of space can have a positive contribution to this aspect in our society?
Yeah, yeah, it's a very, very profound question, and I think it has to be answered. That 100,000 years ago, humankind came from Africa, Horn of Africa. We were a million years old, but we were monkeys and Homo sapiens and all that. We moved around quite a bit, and finally, I think India we came around 60,000 years. Okay, we are hunter gatherers. America we came, I think, 20,000 years. Some other parts 40,000 years. So really, our whole habitation, our habitats, human habitats around the world, around the earth is like 60,000 years, the oldest. But in last 60 years, 60,000 years, what did we do? Yeah, we killed animals. We went around all the 7 continents, and I can say that now. So anyway, it is interesting to see that these people didn't go anywhere else. Maybe because of technology, because of their drive, their initiative, their ability to excel themselves. So you can become good in something, better in something, but to become excellent, it takes extra work. So that is where my complaint comes to with all the people that they gave up. They give up right when they are just getting to be good. They don't even know what excellence is. For me, I was rubbed in by many of my mentors in Boeing and some other places, including NASA. I got my Silver Snoopy Award from Pamela Melroy. It's one of the most honorable awards for NASA engineers and safety people. So you must have done something extraordinary, and only 1% of the people get it only once in your lifetime, and then you are branded the best. And this pin is a doggy pin, Snoopy Dog from Disney. It was done jointly by Walt Disney and Werner von Braun. It goes to space by Pamela Melroy. She comes, brings it back, but she doesn't know whom to give it to. Then NASA decides on the side who should get it this year. And out of 1 million people, you become lucky, maybe. So many people have never seen it, nor even will never get it. So it's a prestigious thing, and it has space flown hardware, meaning it has gone to space and astronaut. So they come knocking on your door, and everybody is shouting. It's like a barat, ready to go. I'm a bride, groom, and let's go. Let's see the bride, and here is the bride in a Silver Snoopy Award. So it's an amazing feeling for me to get recognized. And again, NASA has recognized not only men and women, and it's so nice to see. Like I came to America in 75. Kalpana Chawla came in 82. We didn't know each other in India. When she came to America, we didn't know each other. She went to Texas. I came to Chicago and then East. Philadelphia. And then we met in 93, 94. I think she became astronaut candidate, just like Pamela Melroy. And in fact, she flew before Pam Melroy. Pam Melroy flew after her. So I told you that she had that drive, the initiative, the killer instinct, the passion, the perseverance, and never give up attitude. You name all that, And yeah, I could have done that too, but I didn't. So what is the difference between me and her? Like my 5 fingers, one is different than the other. So she wanted to find her own peak. Like Tenzing said, Ravi, don't follow Mount Everest. Go after Mount Olympus Mons. Well, he didn't say that. He said, find a taller mountain. So only when you go to the top of Mount Everest, you see taller, higher peaks, right? So, well, now we can see it with, telescope, drones and other things, planes and all that. But in the old days, only when you go to the top of a mountain, you see a bigger peak. So who did nobody told me. I didn't even know Everest was a peak, tallest peak in Himalayas. So you are sort of naive, growing up. And later on, I found out that what is Tenzing saying? How am I going to climb taller peak than Mount Everest? But he never said whether it's on Earth or in space, in some other part of space, or neither. It's said that it has to be a mountain. It has to be. It can be anything. So what was my mountain? My mountain was uh, being the best in NASA. And wearing this T-shirt and stand in front of people in the world, Cambridge, Oxford, and say, "Hey, I'm Dr. Ravi Margasahayam. I'm from NASA." I don't have to tell them. This says already that I'm the best in the world. So overview effect does that, because up to 60,000 years, nothing happened. We never went anywhere. But now I come to America and look, I didn't know Kalpana Chawla. We met and I get to launch her. Is it a coincidence? I have no idea. I'm still wondering why it is like that. And then when she passed away in Colombia, my picture was on the wall in the museum from this book. And right opposite to was Kalpana Chawla's memorial. Even today it's there, but my picture is gone. But the rocket is there, Atlantis. So how can my picture be there in a room after she's dead? So even in living and dead, we were sharing spaces. Like amazing. When I say space doesn't mean that like a tiny room. It could be Earth, it could be the Kennedy Space Center, it could be the whole universe. So just think about it, brood about it. Now, coming back to your question about, overview effect, I think because we built people had gone before that, before ISS, but now we are living and working there for 20 years. That's amazing, Can you imagine? It took us $250 billion to build that, and many, many launches from America. And every time I had to launch a rocket like this, put a payload here, go up there, and it had to be connected in space correctly. So if you connect some wall socket and it doesn't work, you start blaming it, saying bad design. So now what happens if it goes up after spending 500 million and the module itself doesn't fit there? I have to throw it away. So we never threw any parts. Everything worked, and now I got to let people go there and stay there. And live and work there. So my legacy would be sending humans to space, but more importantly, living and extending humanity's reach into the outer space, into cosmos, and that's where overview effect comes in. Every 90 minutes we are going around. So and now we are outside the station and doing a EVA, trying to fix the Hubble Space Telescope. Can you imagine what a feeling to see this pale blue dot? It feels that also that, hey, we have to take care of this Earth, okay? Because it's my responsibility, and that's why we monitor. So ISS is an Earth observation station, Earth observation, and it also is a lab, floating lab. It's a Taj Mahal in space. Yeah, Taj Mahal. I mean, nothing against women. Again, I'll come to that. Taj Mahal was built for one woman. I would have built it too. I didn't have money. Sorry, I'm not a billionaire. I don't think. Can you build a Taj Mahal for $1 billion? I don't think so, right? No, never. So. But we built a Taj Mahal in space. Yeah, it's not Taj Mahal really, and it's not for one woman. It's for all the women of the world. Okay, for you and you and you and everybody, right? So I'm going to kick somebody's behind if they say, "Oh, you built a Taj Mahal, but for who?" Said all the women in the world, on Earth. Okay, I never use this. Sentence anywhere in the world. This is the first time I'm using it. Okay, it just came to me because 5 women changed my life. My mom, my aunt in Chicago, who let me come to America and stay here, go to college. My wife of 43 years, my daughter 34, Nina, and my best friend, a mentor, Pamela Melroy. She's number 2 in whole of NASA, 3 times space. And she reports directly to the President of the United States, best friend of Kalpana Chawla. She did the investigation. So I have a great respect for women. I myself treat women as same. When I say 2 is equal to 2, we talked about 2 plus 2, but 2 has to be equal to 2. That means man has to be equal to women. Now, you can argue that, no, we want to be higher than that, but that's a different argument. We are only talking about giving respect in terms of equality, and I think that is my opinion. And I think women can do anything men can do or more. And she didn't break the glass ceiling alone, she broke the space ceiling. Okay. So, it's very important to show that women can do that, and she was the first Indian woman to do that. And we pray all these people like Kali and Lakshmi and all that. What are they? They are female gods, right? So as for me, I have no problem touching my wife's feet. I'm not egotistic because she's like God to me, goddess to me. I touch my parents' feet, my mom's feet. So why not my wife's feet, my daughter's feet? Yeah, why not? I don't care. I don't have any ego. So I think I believe that women have to have the education and have the ability to well, not everybody can have education, but have the ability to have that self-esteem. So now let's say you didn't even go to college, you don't have any degree, you don't even have a high school degree, 11th grade, but if you have self-esteem, nobody can shake you. I think what is happening in India with women also, we did a small group in NSS Mumbai to counteract against rape and other things and take care of women. So that's another bad thing happening. And there is no respect for women. They can also say that we have problems in America. I'm not saying India is bad or America is bad. I'm just saying, in general, let's give respect to the humans. And very, very poignant point for you. As our astronauts who are on the ISS are going around at 17,500 miles per hour, Mach 25, 28,000 kilometers per hour, they're saying, by the time I say Kazakhstan or some long word in a city name or town name in India, you're in a different continent, So there's no boundaries in space. There's no India. There's no there's no Bangladesh. There's no what do you call Kabul, Afghanistan, Europe. By the time you say something, you're in a different continent. So why should we have that difference in our mind? That's the height of craziness, the humankind. So I know. Even one time I went to this school in Chennai, and they say that they had a quote on man, that they have to make a man better. So I said, please change that to human. They haven't changed it yet, so I'm going to fight it again next time I come there. So I think it's a clear example that I have my mom, my aunt, my wife, Nina, and my daughter Nina, and Pam. I mean, how many women I need to tell the world saying that, hey, these women are equal or much better than me, I mean, does it degrade me? No, in no way it will degrade me. But can I give respect to them? Yes. And I think that is a difference. We have to change that.
Yes, that giving respect to someone doesn't take away anything from ourselves. So it doesn't cost anything. And
They say that when you have a candle in your hand and you light hundreds of candles, the candle's power doesn't go away. The light is still there. So same thing. So Mahatma Gandhi, all the people in the world, they gave back. Mother Teresa, what did they want from the society? Nothing. And you can't take, the billions people have it, they can't take it. Millions people have it. It's all money. You can't take anything with you. And I want to find out if God can let me take all my money to space. But I don't know what to spend on.
No, let's not find that out. This is another thing that I really respect you for is all the space things you teach us, but also you're very, very active in advocating for equality, women's respect, and also stopping students from going into these extreme measures, which is why we talked about it today. And the last thing that I would like to ask is that you are a rocket scientist in real life. So I have to ask you this question, that A lot of students still look up at space, I would say technology, only as rocket science. And I don't want to break that kind of, I wouldn't call it illusion, but kind of partial illusion that it's only about rockets. We have some spacecraft. Some people just love to forget that. But what I want to say is, you are a real rocket scientist, and we need more guides and mentors who have been real rocket scientists. And a lot of students ask a lot of things about what skills do we need to learn. So this is one question that I would leave to you, that what would you say students or young people would need to learn to become rocket scientists like you?
Yeah, it's a great question, especially for the people who want to be in space exploration arena. We call it, that's the good way to say that. Um, rocket is just a tool, for you to go up in space. It's a vehicle. Like you go from Calcutta to Delhi, by car. A car is a tool. That's all it does, basically. It doesn't have, there's no way it can understand where universe came from, where Earth came from, how old is Earth, is there water in all this resource. It cannot answer all those questions. It just takes us from point to, like, you want to go to a movie and the theater is far away from your house. You sit in your car and go to the movie. What is the car purpose? Car is not coming inside the movie theater. You are enjoying the movie and coming back. So that is my answer for using rocket as a tool. Now, I'm not a real rocket scientist. I mean, rocket. I think there's a nice quote by what JPL director von Karman. He says, "Scientists study the world as is, but engineers create the world." You see around, basically, where there was no world. All the things in the world. So scientists see the world as is. Engineers create the world that never was, something like that. So all the Hubble telescope, all the rockets, all the other things was done by engineers. But I want to ask you, can I just give you one finger out of five? No, you want all the five fingers. So I need not only people who can design, but also I want to know about cosmos and study the cosmos, take the data analysis. So there are many aspects. When we say space exploration, it's just not building rockets like this. So why did I not become a space scientist and study astronomy? And I had an aerospace engineering degree. You can study aeronautical or astronomical, whatever you want to study. But the thing is, again, it's your passion. Sometimes you get a chance to do something profound, and maybe it was my plan was never to be a rocket engineer or a ground system safety engineer or whatever you want to call, launch pad engineer, safety engineer, whatever you want to call, space shuttle engineer. Space shuttle, I didn't even know what space shuttle was, until my mom said, oh, maybe when I was like 5 years old in 1958, NASA was not even formed. She says, "Arey Pushpak Viman, it will come with the gods, I said, Mom, you're crazy. There's no Pushpak Viman. NASA was not even formed. And now that's my baby. I call my baby $2 billion baby, Pushpak Viman. So anyway, I think we need everybody to work together. So I think we talked a little bit about that. Understand, what's root cause of your failure in life. And once you do that, you understand the big picture of, say, building the rocket, understanding the universe. So once you understand, then you may have that liking towards, like, I had one thing in my mind when I saw the movie Sangam. I want to become a pilot, and that's it. So pilot has nothing to do with rockets. And if somebody told me that in 1963, 64, Sangam came in 64, that I would become a rocket scientist for NASA, I said, you're crazy. I can't even go from Pune to Mumbai, by train. How am I going to go to NASA and become a rocket scientist? What are you drinking? What are you smoking? So it's very important that we believe in ourselves, and the third thing is multidisciplinary nature. So you take your toolbox and understand many things. But most importantly, I want to impress upon you is that your passion. Passion is the most important thing. If you don't have passion in what you're doing, you're not going to do it. So you find your own passion. I'm not. That's why Til Singh said, find your own peak. I said, "Arey, peak kidhar hai?" I don't know. I mean, I didn't even know about Everest. I've never seen Everest also. तो आप बोलते हैं और भी ज्यादा पिक है, पिक किधर है? इंडिया में है, किधर है? Then he said, he never said that it was the peak on Mars or in space, or he didn't say it was a peak like going to the top of NASA. He said just to find your own dreams, find your own goals. So that's one thing. Second part of the story is, I think what you have to do is you have to be a I type person. I meaning like, when you write a letter, I is vertical line, and then you have two horizontal lines, right? So the vertical line is your core skill. That's your passionate skill. But now that passion alone won't take you. So you have to come up with what they call as hard skill and soft skills. So top is hard skills. So the core hard skill is like related skills. In my case, I learned about railroad engineering, mining, instrumentation, measuring sound, analyzing sound, connecting it to vibration, doing finite element analysis, trying to understand how the structure behaves after the sound comes. So when there's a sine wave like this on the structure bending mode, the other wave comes and cancels out the sound wave, then they cancel out. But if they come like that, then there's amplification of sound and vibration, basically. Like, when you go on a street, you see a stop sign, and the sign starts vibrating like crazy. Why? Because the wind comes and vibrates. So after so many cycles, it says, I'm going to go into full resonance. So not full, partial resonance, I guess. So these are the things, you want to accumulate, like all those things. And then in the bottom, it's soft skills. Those are your like public speaking, creativity, problem solving, critical thinking, writing skills, things like that. So all those things which are soft skills are very critical, because you may have the best idea in the world. If you don't communicate, you get only the elevator pitch for the CEO. CEO doesn't have too much time for you. He will say, Sumana, take the next elevator. And no, not up, going down. I said, Kidhar jaane ka hai? Oh, you're on Burj Khalifa top. You have to go down now. 100 floors. Don't come up, because there's no up there. So, yeah, I think this is important, that you follow your. I cannot tell you to become a doctor. My mom and dad wanted me to be a doctor, because we had few doctors in our family, but I couldn't even see blood, so I couldn't become a doctor. My dad was an engineer, so my grades were so poor that no engineering school in Mumbai gave a seat for me. I had to go to Bangalore and get, pay some donation, but donation was more for, like, they said, you're out of town because you're out of state. But I thought it was a donation, and I cried the whole day because of my stupidity and ignorance that I'm imposing on my parents to give the 3,000 rupees donation. You know how much 3,000 rupees now is? Like less than $30, $40, at 80 rupees. So I'm sure I gave many 80 rupees, $80 back to my parents. That was the best investment my mom did to make me a NASA engineer. So and I think now one more thing I wanted, like our friend from Brazil, Paulo Coelho, he says, and you've seen that quote many times. So if you dream, the world will collude with you to make it happen. So that's from Alchemist. So I'm an alchemist, I think, of sorts, and I'm trying to brainwash you. So I have like a 16-year-old girl, 17-year-old girl, 18-year-old girl in India. One is a Christian, one is a Muslim, one is a Hindu. They come from different backgrounds, but I'm trying to brainwash all of them because they're all geniuses. They want to become like me. I said, no, you want to become like what you want to become. Don't follow my path. So, but that's my alchemist. That they think, well, I don't think, but they told me that they're like pigeons, and they're like peacocks, and they're like parrots, and they want to be eagle like me. And I said, I'm not an eagle. People call me eagle, but I can't make you eagle, because that would be not right for a guru or a mentor. I want you to become better than me, which is becoming a golden eagle or a diamond eagle. And they say that a master is not defined by the number of students he has, but by the number of masters he creates. So all those gurus in the past, the they created more masters in the world. So that's my goal, to inspire the people to, if I can. And Tenzing said one time, see, Ravi, if you climb Mount Everest halfway, most of the world has never been to base camp of Mount Everest. किधर ऊपर भी नहीं गए, नहीं तो base camp भी नहीं गए. They have never seen Mount Everest. 99% of the people in the world. So he said, that's great because you went halfway. So why are you giving up? So Abhi, our helicopter on Mars, Ingenuity helicopter and Curiosity rover and Perseverance rover, they're wandering around Mars. Yeah, they never went to top of Olympus Mons, which is 3 times higher than Mount Everest, like Tenzing said. He didn't know Olympus Mons those days. But what it is just getting to Mars, 100 million miles away, autonomously working there, and 2 buddies work together. Perseverance rover says, "Arey bhai, aaj to bahut garmi hai, very hot." So he tells his helicopter buddy, Ingenuity, "Arey aap jao udhar, dekho kidhar hai hotel, pizza khayenge, nahi to dosa khayenge or coffee piyenge. Chalo, find out where it is. I don't have to row all the way. I mean, as a rover, I have to go on a long walk. At least you can fly and tell me." I mean, these 2 guys are totally different people and they're working together. These are not even humans. They're robots. What's wrong with you and me? Why am I fighting with you? Me, you as a human, you as a woman, you as a person on Earth. Why am I fighting when these guys are working on Mars, working together? Right? So that is the story. I think, it's a profound statement, once we start thinking about the overview effect and all that. Now, overview effect, is from space seeing Earth. But now, what Ingenuity helicopter and rover, what are they thinking about Earth? Maybe they liked Earth. They want to come back. They may never come back. So. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. When you start comparing things, like when Kalpana Chawla went from the launch, to the launch pad from our office, we have 140,000 acres of land. Only about 5,000 acres is used for launching rockets. But she's launch pad is 10 miles away from the office, where she's cordoned off, in a contained area, and nobody can go there. And as she comes out of the building, people shout and stuff like that. Helicopters going, cars going, honking, people are shouting. And it's like Bharat, it reminds me of Bharat in the book I wrote, like Kalpana Chawla going to the pad. And then once she starts in a Astrovan, everybody has to stop, otherwise they'll shoot you. If Kalpana Chawla is going this way to pad and you are coming the opposite way, you have to stop your car, get out of the car, shut the car. Otherwise, they're afraid that you may come and hit the van by mistake or even purposefully, and they'll shoot you. So there are 10 police cars in the front, motorbikes back, helicopters flying with the guns ready, like a Rambo movie. And you make a tiny move and you'll be shot at sight. No questions asked. Okay. And I cannot touch her. She went 2 feet away from me both times. First time in 1997 and STS 87. And that's the time I helped Inder Kumar Gujral, our Prime Minister, to talk to Kalpana in space. 1.2 billion people listened to that. Many people don't know that I did that. I was instrumental in talking to NASA and getting it done. And next time, 2003, I had some, I think, gut feeling that things can go wrong, because there's a book called Success Through Failure, A Paradox of Design by Henry Petrosky. And he talks about how failures come after 17 years, 20 years, because it's a forgetting curve, meaning like I worked in NASA for 30 years and had so much knowledge about vibroacoustics. Can somebody learn that language? Yes, they can learn, but they can't get my 30 years of 100 launch experience rocket. I have to measure the data, understand the data, and use the data to come up with vibration. Can somebody do it? Yes, yeah, no problem at all. But that experience of nuances, tiny nuances, as I said, if Apollo 13 just missed Earth by 10 miles, it would have gone away. It would never land on Earth. And 10 miles in the context of the whole cosmos, tell me. And we are so far away. India is 10,000 miles away. So what happened was Ashutosh Gawarikar, he wanted to make a movie, and NASA was never interested in uh, anybody making a movie in NASA at Kennedy Space Center, because Kennedy Space Center is like the sanctum sanctorum. Only priests and stuff like that go inside the temple. So this is a very powerful place. When you walk around with Neil Armstrong on one side, or Buzz Aldrin on the other side, or Pamela Milroy, it's like, you're walking with, or Margaret Thatcher, I'm touring her, or Prince Charles, kings, queens, ambassadors, four-star generals. I know it's like who has not walked here? So you're walking inside something like a temple for space. I call it the base camp to the stars. So my journey from Gateway of India in Mumbai to Gateway to Space, or Base Camp to Stars, was one of the fantastic ones. And then when we started working on the launch pad, it's even like you are inside the sanctum sanctorum, which is like, and launch pad was so difficult to get in that I had needed 7 way stations or police stations, and these police stations are not ordinary. They have guns and people and helicopters, and they can shoot you at sight. So I had to cross all this to go to the launch pad to work on it. So it's a very difficult thing. And then people are afraid when the space shuttle is on there. Even on 911, one of the last planes was supposed to come and bomb that place with a rocket on the launch pad. So anyway, it didn't happen. So anyway, so NASA never approved even American movies, Bollywood, Hollywood, nobody. Then finally, I don't know what happened, what changed. So we were trying to get India and NASA work together. I started working with them in 1997 with Dr. Kasturi Rangan. I came as an emissary from Kennedy Space Center, but it didn't go anywhere. We started ISS, and they didn't get involved with that for whatever reason. Now I know 2 astronauts from India are going to ISS. So when they got the approval, I suddenly get a call from my public affairs people, say, "Oh, there is some people coming from Mumbai and India." I said, "Who are they?" I said, "Oh, I don't know all of them, but there are many Indian languages they speak, and many. Oh, what are they doing? Oh, I can't tell you." Okay, then I go there, and here is like Shah Rukh Khan and Ashutosh Gawarikar and all their team there. And a lot of people were from Mumbai. They spoke, Hindi and Marathi, and some people spoke Tamil and Kannada. And so they were like, I could speak all those languages. So I was very well versed with all of them. So they all liked it. So just to tease you, I said, Shah Rukh Khan was involved with the movie, and they even asked me to act in the movie in the last scene where the rocket takes off and Shah Rukh Khan is looking at the one of his satellites. And he came to launch a probe which would have gone inside this rocket here, inside the payload compartment, and then we would launch it to space on the space shuttle. Actually, GPM went on the space. So it was nice to spend time with them. And but when you mentioned about movies and all that, I just thought about it. But I want to write the book, my memoir, for my daughter, but also for all the people in the world, to use me as a life's mirror, to say that whatever happened, like Vasa's mirror, where what happened in the past has no bearing on your future if you just change it. A good quote would be, a Chinese proverb says that if you want a tree, if Somana wanted a tree right now, big tree, she should have planted a seed 20 years ago. But if she didn't do that, there's no tree. So now it is her time to plant a seed. So in next 20 years, she will get a tree. So that is what I did. My first 22 years I were a washout, but next 22 years I controlled the bull by the horn, created my own destiny. Like they say, fate never handed Genghis Khan his destiny, he created himself. And we and you and me, we all have the power to control our destiny, shape it the way we want it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't want to take up any more of your time. This conversation has been like, you mentioned the quote from Alchemist that when you dream, the universe colludes to make it happen. और शाहरुख खान also said it, किसी चीज को शिद्दत से चाहो तो पूरी कायनात उसी तुमसे मिलाने की कोशिश में लग जाता है. So I spent my entire school life starting with Kalpana Chawla, then looking at shuttle pictures, the model you were showing, learning the first bits of rocketry from NASA website, the solid rocket boosters, the different parts of SSME, the shuttle main engine. And for me to sit here today and to talk to you, to have the opportunity to learn so much from you yes, has been nothing less than that universe conspiring to bring everything together for me. So I can only thank you so much for being such a wonderful guest and teacher and a mentor to me and to many, many people. Thank you.
Yes. Now, why did Kalpana became? I got to lunch Kalpana. I still haven't figured out. Is it serendipity or is it coincidence or what? I just cannot understand that there are 1.34 billion people in India, and I had to come before her to NASA, to Kennedy Space Center. I was already launching humans to space. She came much later because I was launching in 89 already to people, to space. And she flew in 97. So what I'm saying is, why did I work on that launch pad where no Indians were ever allowed, only 2 African American were allowed, or maybe 3, I don't know. And mostly local Americans, white Caucasian Americans, and nothing against them. They were very good people. I'm not saying anything wrong against them. I'm just saying why God brought me and put me there. Could have put me anywhere on earth, right? And then Kalpana also coming and becoming a NASA astronaut. And yes, I can categorically say that she had more drive, more killer instinct, more passion than me, and she got the chance. Am I smarter than her, or is she smarter more, or am I less smarter than her? I don't think so. God has given us the same brain, same heart, same body, same everything. It's just that we didn't put that extra effort, that last mile, and I'm nothing. I'm not. I don't have any grudge against her that she went to space and I didn't go, because I did what I could. I achieved my goals. I went to my pinnacle, and like Tenzing said, I chose that path. I chose that peak. Okay, but Kalpana Chawla's peak was higher. So what's wrong? Nothing. And she's a woman, and I'm a man. No, I have no problem with that. I'm more power to her, because she dared mighty things. I didn't. So, and in depth also we have sharing spaces. So when I write my memoir, I want you to help me out a little bit and try to put in all these ideas and maybe more ideas, so we can. I don't think the book is about me or you. Not for us. It's about for everybody in the world, women of India in the world, students, youngsters. So our goal, I want you to help me to make sure it comes out right, and so we can inspire, even simple words. So we want to inspire them to be somebody, much bigger than us. Like, can they reach Mars? Yeah, why not? They don't have to stop there. Kalpana Chawla already broke the space ceiling. They made a big hole there. Even an elephant can go through there now.
To everyone watching, please subscribe to this channel. We are going to have many more podcast episodes and also many more videos on different kinds of space missions like the Europa Clipper. And do not forget to join our Space Careers Mastermind community. It's a free email list right now. I'm going to put the link in the first comment. Click on it and put in your name and email address. Join our community, and I will send you space tech insights, information about events, new missions, and many other different things directly to your inbox. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.